This one here is the Pop-Tart craving killer, no doubt in my mind. Welcome back to the Anabolic Hub, where we make anabolic deliciousness. We're back inside my kitchen today, and we're doing another original recipe. Today we have a copycat version of the brown sugar flavored Pop-Tart. I'll be honest with you, right up front, the calories are just about the same. However, the protein count, the fat count, the fiber count, it's all very, very different. And I'll let you guess which direction my version goes in. But I can tell you right now, this is going to be ideal for any weight loss plan, any main gaining plan, and definitely any shredding plan. So, with no further ado, let's get things started by having a look at the ingredients. Here we go. Oat flour, vanilla-based whey casein blend, powdered peanut butter, plain non-fat Greek yogurt, Swerve, granular or any zero-calorie sweetener, Swerve, brown, ground cinnamon, unsweetened almond milk. This is another one of those magical recipes where we're going to be mixing together some dry ingredients, mixing together some wet ingredients, and combining the two for some anabolic deliciousness. And we're going to do that 3 separate times. But let's get things started here by putting together our Pop-Tart base. First dry ingredient on the Pop-Tart base is going to be 30 grams of the oat flour, pre-measured and on the money, of course. Next up, we're going to be adding in a vanilla-based whey casein blend. Now, I tried this recipe with just whey, and yes, of course, I tried this recipe with just casein, and I know I'm getting a little off track here from only using casein, but trust me, it's still worth experimenting with my recipes, using all 3, seeing which one works best, because I'm telling you, with a lot of these anabolic recipes, one of the biggest things that can go wrong is texture. And I found that just using the casein-only protein powder made it a little too cakey and a little too soggy. The whey was, of course, as we know, drier than beach sand. But I found when I used the whey casein blend, it worked really well in terms of texture on getting this as authentic as possible to the real thing. But in this case, it's super anabolic. So here we go, we're adding in 8 grams of our vanilla-based whey casein blend. I was trying to get it to be just right for this recipe, as I just mentioned, but I couldn't quite get it to be right. Then I remembered, I think it was the Iron Musket who said he's used peanut butter powder to make the texture just right, and sometimes the flavor of the peanut butter doesn't even come through, and that is 100% accurate for this recipe. You taste no peanut butter whatsoever, but the texture is very different when you use 8 grams that we're going to put in right now. Our last dry ingredient for this portion is going to be our Swerve granular version here. You can use any 0-calorie sweetener. This one here is more or less optional. If you like your food sweet, then I would highly recommend you put in about 5 to 10 grams of this. I like mine super sweet, so I'm putting in the full 10 grams. And if you don't know by now, you should, of course, with all our dry ingredients in there. Next step is to sift them all together. If you want to be super lazy, you can just stir them together. If you want to be a little less lazy, you could whisk them together. But I can guarantee you one thing, if you sift them, this recipe will taste much better. Next up, our first wet ingredient is going to be 45 grams of our plain non-fat Greek yogurt. Utilizing our negative scale measuring system. Gonna want to take this off, first time use obviously. And our second and last wet ingredient for this portion of the recipe is going to be our almond milk. Here it's going to again greatly depend on your protein powder. If you're using whey only, you won't need as much. If you're using casein, you're gonna need a little bit more. And if you're using the blend like we are here, you're gonna need somewhere in the middle. I'm gonna start off here by putting in 15 grams, mixing it up and seeing where we're at. Highly recommend you do the same thing. Add a little bit in at a time until you get the consistency I'm about to show you, because you can always put more in, but you can't take any out. Just a quick reminder to smash the like button, consider subscribing if you're not subscribed, and which Pop-Tart flavor should I try to make next? Let me know in the comment section. All right, back to the video. And once you have everything well incorporated, you realize that I used way too big of a bowl to mix all this together. But here is the consistency that you're looking for. Next step here is to take this dough and roll it into 2 separate balls. What you want to do here is have 2 pieces of parchment paper, one or I guess both of which will fit into your air fryer. We're only gonna need one, but cut them out so they'll fit into an air fryer. If you're using a conventional oven, doesn't matter so much, just get them big enough to make a rectangle about a Pop-Tart shape. You're gonna take your first half of the dough, roll it into a ball, and put it right in the center of the parchment paper. Then do the same thing with the second half of the dough. So before we roll out these 2 pieces of dough into our Pop-Tart rectangles, you just want to get it started by shaping it with your hands into as close to a rectangular shape as you can. And it doesn't have to be perfect, you just want to get them in looking relatively like rectangles. Next, we're going to roll these out. You can use a rolling pin for this, but because a lot of you don't have a rolling pin, but you probably have some non-stick cooking spray, what we're going to do is wrap some parchment paper around this to roll out the dough. You can do the same thing with your rolling pin if you have one, just in case some of you don't. Little hack here. Wrapped up cooking spray, let the rolling begin. So you don't have to worry about being too accurate when you're rolling out your rectangles. We're going to shape them with our butter knife next, make them look nice and pretty so you feel like you're having more of a genuine Pop-Tart. So let's do that here. We're gonna shape out our rectangles, make it look a little bit neater. You don't have to be as intricate as that. I have a thumbnail to take, so I want to make it look as pretty as possible. But as long as both pieces are relatively the same size, you're good to go. Next step, we're going to put together our filling. And just like that, the hard part is over. Next up, we're putting our filling together. We're going to get it started with 25 grams of our plain non-fat Greek yogurt. Then we need 4 grams of our vanilla-based whey casein blend. Then we need 6 grams of our Swerve brown sugar. Then 1 gram of the ground cinnamon. We'll give that a quick mix. And then we want the tiniest bit amount of our almond milk just to make this more of a spread. I mean it, a tiny amount, less than last time. And if I used 2 grams of the almond milk, I'd be shocked. Once you have this Pop-Tart paste consistency here, you're good to go. Back over to our dough, we're gonna put this in the center of one of our pieces. It doesn't really matter which piece you put your filling on. If you notice one's bigger than the other, I recommend you use that one. But either way, we're going to be putting the other one on top and it's not gonna matter. So pick one, put your filling in the middle, and then we'll get ready to put the other piece on top. Make sure when you're putting your filling in, you do leave a little bit of an edge, about 1/2 inch around, that doesn't have any filling on it, because we're going to be sealing these 2 pieces together. We're going to be taking our second piece that's on our other piece of parchment paper. We're going to roll it right off of there, right on top of our other piece. Should come off just like that. Put it right on top. Then we want to seal our Pop-Tart together, so you're going to take your fork, the very end of it, and you're going to pinch the edges together just like so, all around. And just like that, our Pop-Tart is ready to start baking. You can actually put this in the air fryer at 400 degrees Fahrenheit or 205 degrees Celsius for about 5 to 6 minutes. Or if you're going to use a conventional oven, you want to put it to 425 degrees Fahrenheit or 218 degrees Celsius for about 8 to 9 minutes. Let's get this going. We're gonna use the air fryer. Here we go. While our Pop-Tart is finishing up in the air fryer, we're gonna put together our frosting, which is only 4 simple ingredients. Utilizing our bowl from the filling, we're going to add in our first frosting ingredient, which is going to be 8 grams of our vanilla-based whey casein blend. Then we need 2 grams of our Swerve brown sugar, 1 gram of the ground cinnamon. Give that a quick mix. And the last ingredient, we're going to carefully add in some almond milk just to get a frosting consistency. Gonna use very little here. Use less than you think you need. I'm telling you, a little goes a long way. And you don't want it to be too runny or it's gonna run right off your Pop-Tart. Once you have a consistency like this, you are good to go. And we just got our Pop-Tart out of the air fryer. There's a little bit of browning on top, but that's okay. You're not even gonna notice it here. Next step is to let this cool for a few minutes. Then we're gonna add on our frosting and take it right over to the taste test table. And we're back at the taste test table yet again to try another fantastic Anabolic Copycat recipe. Our brown sugar flavored Pop-Tart, Anabolic version, loaded with protein, loaded with flavor. If you're looking to kill that Pop-Tart craving, man, this'll get the job done. Few steps involved here, but they're all very simple. You can air fry it, you can bake it in the oven, however you want to do it. It's still gonna be delicious. Incredible. I can smell the brown sugar. We all know that flavor. When I was a kid, brown sugar Pop-Tarts were so friggin' good. And you love them from the moment you try them, forever and all time, until of course you look at the nutrition label and you see the macros for just one pastry. Awful. Hardly any fiber, there's like 2 grams of protein, no good, loaded with fat, loaded with sugar. Totally the opposite here. You have a ton of protein, 30 grams of protein to be exact. 30 grams versus 2, same amount of sweetness. This one here is the Pop-Tart craving killer, no doubt in my mind. But let's stop talking about it, let's try it. First bite, best bite, always, especially with this recipe. Here we go. Oh, to be a kid again. The sweetness, the brown sugariness, and of course, the anabolicness. So good, all coming together. Delicious treat. It's also a lot more dense than your traditional Pop-Tart would be. I don't know if any of you remember, but those are pretty light, pretty flimsy. This here, even with the whey casein blend, still has some heft to it. Whenever you have that much protein and that much fiber in a recipe like this, oh my goodness, gonna be so filling, gonna be so satisfying. You're gonna be done with it. It's gonna feel like you got a brick in your stomach. You're not gonna want to eat anything. It's easily gonna get you to the next meal. No brainer snack. You could, if you wanted to, meal prep these out. You could make 6 at a time, 8 at a time. You just gotta double, triple, quadruple the recipe, equal amount of dough balls, spread them out, put them together with the filling, add on the frosting. They'll keep for at least a week. Tupperware container, refrigerator, however you want to store them. You'll be good to go. You got a nice grab and go snack. It's gonna feel like you're having a dessert. Super delicious treat, loaded with protein, loaded with fiber, no brainer. I'll flash up the macros here. As you can see, total game changer, 30 grams of protein, ton of fiber, the fat's super low, the calories are right on point. You could double up this recipe easily and not feel guilty about it whatsoever, although good luck getting 2 of these down because they are very filling. With snacks like this, it's impossible to go off your diet. It's not gonna happen. You start putting things together that are this satisfying, that are this sweet, you're gonna kill all your cravings, you're gonna be full, you're gonna easily make it to your next meal, staying on track with your fitness goals. So simple. If you're not doing the anabolic diet, are you even trying? There's really not much else to say other than it's absolutely delicious. But it's getting to be about that time. I gotta get up out of here, so I'll see you in the next one. Bye.